So Joel, yeah, it's great to see you, great to talk with you. I've heard a lot about you and about the band, um, specifically from Sam when I interviewed him for he's the bass player for Haunt. But I did want to kick things off. It's kind of a somber time because we just learned today that John Sykes died. John Sykes, legendary guitarist for Whitesnake, Thin Lizzy, Tigers of Pantang, of course, Blue Murder, a power trio that he started. Um, and yeah, so how are you feeling now? I mean, must have hit you pretty hard because I know he's one of your main influences.
Yeah, devastated, utterly devastated. I mean, I was at rehearsal with Haunt, and my phone was blowing up, and I got a ton of notifications. And then the first one I read was from Torian from Traveler, the guitar player, and he was like, "Dude, check this out." And it's a post that John Sykes had passed away, and I was like, "This can't be happening." But there was like six other people sending me the exact same post.
Yeah.
And then yeah, throughout the day, it was like 20, 30 people telling me like, I thought of you as soon as I read this. So they all sent me the exact same thing. And I couldn't believe it, man. My
Yeah.
one goal in life was to go at least see him live once, one more
Uh,
time. But it
um,
kind of makes sense because he was not playing live anymore. He was just
right.
keeping himself isolated and private, which is perfectly okay if that's what you want to do. But it makes sense why he didn't want to play live because he was sick, and
Right, right. I had known that, yeah, that he had kind of, pulled back from public life and for some time. And I kind of wondered, like, is he fighting something? Is he fighting is he having health issues? I wondered that. But I always had hope, like, he's gonna come back. He's gonna come back.
yeah.
Reunite with Blue Murder and do one big final tour or something like
Hmm.
that. I had hope, but what a legacy he left, and
Oh, I mean,
just
insane. If
the
this,
body of work. I'll tell you the thing, and you're a guitarist. I'm not, but for me, I have just some like vague knowledge of it. Like I wonder how the heck could he make those sounds without having a whammy bar? Like without the tremolo, his vibrato,
is insane.
his tone, like how the hell did he do that?
It's all in the hand, man.
Yeah,
I would just
just so
watch him
gifted
play too, and I was like, how is he doing that? It's insane. The way he would just make the guitar scream.
and making it look easy.
Yeah, and he used a 10 gauge strings playing on E standard, which was like insane. Those are some thick strings.
Oh,
Like
okay.
they will hurt your fingers, but he just played it effortlessly. I was
Yeah,
like, oh
yeah.
God. Like I tried 10 gauge strings, and after about 20, 30 minutes, my fingertips start hurting. I'm like, "Ugh."
Oh,
And he's
jeez.
up there playing for like 2 hours. You gotta be fucking shitting me.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's his hand strength probably. And
Yeah, hand strength, just the technicality. And not only was like he a super fast shredder, but he could just
right.
play with emotion. Like you could literally
Yes.
feel the notes and what he's like giving like essence from himself into his music and his solos or even just riffs. It's like you feel it, and it's like it just
Yes.
I resonated so much to that, and I was like, this is like my favorite guitar player, like the epitome of what I want to do as a
Yeah.
musician.
My favorite photo of him is it's probably I think it's from his time in Whitesnake, and he's playing. I mean, the guitar that he always played, Black Beauty, I think is what he named it,
Hmm.
the Les Paul, and he's got it facing towards the crowd. It's like the energy from him is moving through the guitar and out, projecting it out towards the crowd, uh,
Yeah.
and just totally in the moment and at one with the instrument and with his music.
Oh yeah.
That's
It
the image that I have of him.
it must have been a something just amazing to watch him back in the day, like when he was in his prime. Like that last album with Thin Lizzy and the stuff he did with Whitesnake, that was like
Yeah.
prime John Sykes, and I would have loved to have been there to see that. Like, I don't know if you can see, but up in my wall, there's like a Les Paul up there.
Oh, you? that's his. I mean,
yeah, it's with the mirror guard. It's all
yeah,
chromed
the
out and
nickel
everything.
plated or the silver
Yeah,
pick guard and all that.
it's up there. I had to get it. It was just like I had to get it.
Oh, so that's all right. I can't tell from your wall. It's a it is an
It's
actual.
yeah. So that's the Les Paul with all. It's a John Sykes model.
Okay, because I read
Yeah.
that they released, it's a very limited release that they modeled they did an issue, they issued the Black Beauty because it's
Hmm.
what is it like a 69 a 79 69 something
It's
like that.
a 78, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
But more recently they Gibson put it out there. So
Yeah.
you got one of those. Wow.
No, well, actually, this is an Orville. It's so Orville is less. It's I think it's Gibson's first name, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
And they were an authorized company in Japan. They were the only authorized company by Gibson. So anything from Orville is essentially Gibson.
Oh,
And
okay.
they also made, so around that same time they made Orville made Les Paul Customs based out of John Sykes.
Okay.
So it's everything the exact same specs. It has
Oh, all right.
the brass nut, the mirror guard, all that stuff. And I
Gotcha.
was just like, I saw it for sale, and I was just like, I gotta get it.
Yeah. Oh, all right. I also read that Gibson reissued it.
No, Gibson did reissue, but those are like astronomical. They're like 6, 7 grand.
Oh, I bet. I bet.
Yeah, I'm just like, there's that joke where it's like, would you rather buy a house or would you rather buy a Les Paul Custom?
Hmm.
You know,
Decisions, priorities.
exactly.
Yeah.
And we know exactly what the correct answer is. It's sitting up on the wall.
Yeah, there you go. Oh man. But yeah, wow, what a guy.
Yeah.
And yeah, the body of work. I mean, uh yeah, Blue Murder for me was probably well some of I mean I like everything he's done, but yeah, the Blue Murder record, the first one, the first Blue Murder record, to me, with you got Tony Franklin on fretless bass, and then
Hmm.
Is it Carmine Appice or Carmine Appice? I know he pronounces it one way and his brother Vinny pronounces it the
Yeah, they
other way.
pronounce it
It's so
differently.
weird. But anyway, Carmine on drums. So like that, the super group to end all super groups.
Yep.
And Sykes taking over at vocals. I mean, I didn't even know the guy could sing,
I know.
but he more than
He
held his own.
Oh, definitely. And what's cool is he had singers. He had Ray Gillen as like
Oh, I
on some of
remember
the
Ray Gillen,
demos. And then he had Tony Martin, who ended up going with Black
Black
Sabbath.
Sabbath.
But he had those two singers, and he just for some reason didn't end up choosing them. And I think it was Tony Franklin who told him, "Why don't you just sing? Like you're telling these guys how to sing,
Yeah,
and you don't like how they're doing it, so why don't you sing?" And he
yeah,
just built up the confidence to do it, and I'm happy he did, man. I love his
yeah.
vocals.
Oh yeah. Great,
He's a
fantastic.
phenomenal singer. Like there's the people say like if you have a trifecta, then you're like it's gold in the music industry. It's like you look good, you play good, and you sound good. And
Ah, all right, all
he
right.
had all three, man. The man was unstoppable.
Yeah, no, I mean, when I had heard that, David Coverdale fired the guys from Whitesnake after they recorded the 1987 record
Hmm.
because he wanted a band that looked, that was MTV ready, or he wanted a band that looked good. I'm like, did you not see John Sykes? Like
Right.
that guy is rock star material right there.
Oh yeah.
If anyone is, he is.
The what I had heard was that they both just like were not really like clicking. They were both writing amazing music, but internally they just were arguing a lot, and it was a lot of he said she said type of thing. And ultimately David, the rumor it goes that supposedly John was trying to push David out of Whitesnake,
Yeah,
which I
I
don't
read
think is
that.
true,
I read
you
that.
know. But I think that's what David thought, so he ended up just firing him and then the rest of the guys, which I honestly think he shouldn't have done because they could have done so much more. I mean that album is like one of my favorite albums of all time, if not my favorite album of all time.
Oh
But
yeah, I mean, if you look at the 1980s, the landmark records of the 1980s, that one ranks up there with the rest. I mean,
oh
that's
yeah,
like a top five. You know,
and it has such a distinctive guitar tone. Like once you hear it, like even if you don't know who John Sykes is, you're like that guitar tone. It just like sticks in your head.
Right.
And I do the thing. He does this thing where like he just slides into the first chord or the first notes of songs. So I once I heard that, I started implementing that on my
Oh,
playing. And JP from Traveler, their singer, when we were on tour, he would watch me, and I would always do that like leading up to like different sections of songs. And he would come up to me and he's like, I love how you play. I love when you do the whole sliding thing. And I was like,
oh,
I
it's
got
that
that from
wow,
yeah,
wow. That
yeah,
that.
exactly. Yeah. And I was like, I got
Oh,
that from
oh
John
yeah. Oh, love
Sykes.
the
And
slide. Love
he,
that.
oh, he was like, oh my God, I love it. It's so cool. And
Yeah.
it's like something just like that when I do it, it's like paying homage to him. It's like something synonymous to him because it's
Yeah.
on that record, and every time I listen to it, that's like I hear that all the time. It's just
Nice.
like it blows my mind every single time.
Nice. Wow. Well, hey, let's get to Saber because
Yeah.
that's why we're here. I mean, R.I.P. John Sykes and his, here you are, the next generation, and
Mhm.
so Saber is the band, and I'm very impressed with what you guys got going on. Uh,
Thank you.
yeah, yeah, I really, and like I was saying, we had talked previously, but well, let's go over it briefly. You've got two singles, Speed Racer and Strike of the Witch, and then you had a full album in
21.
2021. Sorry, I wrote 2001. Wait a minute. Uh, Without Warning, and now we have Lost in Flames, which is due to come out later this.
February 7th.
Oh, February 7th. All right, nice.
Yes.
We got a solid date there. I like that.
Hmm.
And you've already got two videos supporting.
Yes.
You've got Lost in Flames, so the
Hmm.
title track, and then you
Yes.
have Madam Dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me how you guys all got together. How did it all happen?
But initially it was David, Jesus, and myself. We all grew up in Orange County, and we just found each other because there's not that many like metal musicians in Orange County.
Oh,
A
okay.
small little group, so like we all like either we knew each other or we just know of each other.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I first met David when I was like fresh out of high school, and we clicked. We hit it off instantly. I've known him for almost 10 years now, and I showed him a lot of my songs, and he just would just instantly pick up bass lines, and just we vibed and clicked
Yeah.
musically, and like as people. He's like my right hand man. And not long after that, when we met Jesus, and it was like the missing puzzle. Like anything that I would write, he would instantly take that, make it 10 times better, and then just add more to the song. And I was like, this is great. We got something here.
Yeah.
And we had our own little band that we struggled a lot with because we couldn't find a dedicated singer.
Mm.
And it wasn't until Steven joined the picture. Steven was in another band that ended up breaking up, and he had contacted me, and he told me like that he loved my guitar playing and he wanted to start like a side project. And I was like, well, I have my group of guys. We already have like demos and song ideas. It's like, why don't you just come out, we'll show you what we got, and then see if you like it.
Mm-hmm.
So he came, we like played all these songs for him, and we showed him like the lyrics we had, the melodies and everything. And he's like, all right, let me get the mic. And then he just gets on, and it was like instant magic. It's like,
Oh, nice.
wow. It's like that's what it must have felt like for like like bands back in the 80s that are
Yeah.
huge now, like when they just got in the rehearsal room and they just played, and I was like, whoa, it was like
Right.
fireworks are going off, man. It was
Yeah,
insane.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's just an instant connection, and you're like, this is it. We
Yeah,
got it now. The band is together. We got it.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
and after that we literally spent like months like just grinding out, perfecting the songs, which ended up becoming Without Warning. And the rest was history, man. We just after that we just hit the road running.
Hmm. So where do you guys get gigs? It's not just in LA, right? You're kind of branching out.
Yeah, it's usually LA, but just last month we just got back from playing in Portland and Seattle.
Oh,
We
okay.
got invited to play out there, and the crowd was amazing, man. We were up there for just about a week, played 3 shows, and every single night, like crowd was going crazy, and you're just like, whoa, we got to get out here more often,
Yeah, nice.
because we hadn't been there since 2022. We went on a tour with Honk, Traveler, and Screamer, and we did the entire West Coast, going to the Midwest. So we played Seattle and Portland
Okay.
back then, and then we had a great response. And when we put out that we were going back, like so many people were very excited, and we were just like, we got to come back more often.
So you've got
It's
a
it,
solid base, up there in the Pacific Northwest, like
yeah,
you said.
for sure, for
Oh, that's
sure.
great. That is fantastic.
Hmm.
Now you need to come this way. You need to come. I'm in Pennsylvania. You gotta come east.
That's the goal with this record. We want to get more into the Midwest and definitely hit like East Coast area, because we have a ton of fans out there.
Oh yeah,
Everybody's been asking us to get out there. It's just a matter of like, once the album drops, we're gonna get a tour together and see like there's any bands that want to go and like tour with us, or maybe just kind of like play locally with us. It's like we just got to set that up.
gotcha, gotcha.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I'm getting this thing. It says free up storage space. This better not be a problem with. I can tell you, man. I just can't win. Um, but anyway, yeah, we're just going to continue with the interview and pretend as though everything is great. So,
Hmm.
so Joel, all right. So you got the band together, and you've made some. You guys are recording and everything like that. What would you say is like the next step for you guys? What do you see on the horizon for Saber?
We definitely want to get to Europe. That's
Yeah.
like a big thing for us. That's why we signed with RPM Roar, because they're based out of Germany. So a lot of the promotion we're doing is in Europe. So, and we have a ton of fans that have been wanting to see us, wanting to buy merch. It's
Mm,
just, it's hard for the band to get out there, especially when there's not enough like promoters that know of us. So that's why we signed with them. And then
right.
if like fans want to buy merch or anything from us, since Without Warning was independent, so we don't have a merch or somebody to have merch out there for us. So like shipping it overseas is expensive.
Oh, I'm
So
sure.
fans wouldn't really buy merch, and if they did, they would like pay an arm and a leg for shipping, which was I felt bad, but it's like
Yeah.
it costs that much.
Yeah.
So that's the goal, for us, is to get to Europe and tour and bring the band out there, because there's so many fans that want to see us that are over there.
Nice, nice. So you've how did you become aware that you have fans in Europe? Do you hear from them like through various
Oh,
social media?
yeah, the magic of social media, man. All over
It is
Instagram,
magical.
Facebook, yeah, and like the music videos that we've had on YouTube already, like just comments of people saying, "Come
Mm,
to Germany, come to France." It's
okay.
like, it's like, oh man, like I would have never thought like one of my songs would even make it that far, or even that I
Yeah.
would be able to record my songs,
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's like, well, if there's fans out there, we'll be definitely, that's where we want to go. We want to go and play and show them what we got.
Nice, nice. And yeah, and don't forget Japan. I bet you they would love you in Japan.
Oh my God, yeah.
And even where South America.
Yeah, oh yeah.
South
Japan and
America
South
too.
America are some of the biggest markets for like heavy metal and
Right.
hard rock.
Yeah,
Those are
see, it's just
definitely.
America, we're stuck with rap and we can't seem to I don't know. I don't want to get I could go off the range. But I try to tell my sons, and my sons are in their early 20s, but they're totally sold on the rap thing. And I'm like, so there was a time when people actually played their own instruments. That's what way back, and actually still continues to today. People
Mhm.
play their own instruments. It's amazing.
Yeah.
But
I
anyway,
mean, I definitely get like, the whole appeal of like rap and pop music. Some of it is good, some of it is not good. I mean, to each their own. But we just have different tastes. Like we love the music where like people actually picked up their instruments and like dedicated hours and
mm,
so much like of themselves to master their craft and create something. It's just like it's like it's I don't want to say it's like a lost art, but it's like people don't really do that anymore. I've seen like on social media of people saying, "Oh, now that AI is a thing, like I'm gonna use AI to make music because I don't want to put in the time to learn an instrument. It's just faster this way." And I'm like, well, there's no,
Lazy.
at least in my eyes, it's like, there's no beauty in that.
Right.
You're not
Right.
putting yourself into your art, and that's where art comes from. Like it's a piece of
Right.
you.
It's a piece
And
of you, yeah, and warts and all, mistakes, um, and through those mistakes, you might discover something else that you never thought of, like you hear
exactly.
about that all the time in music, oh, I was just noodling around, and all of a sudden, boom, then I got
Yep.
this great riff, you know.
And trust me, that happens every single time. Most of the songs I've written is just by mistake. I just picked up my guitar and I was just like, I'm tired of practicing. I'm just gonna lay down and just noodle or play a riff. And I was like, whoa, that actually sounds really cool. And all of a sudden my focus changes. I was like, all right, I got something right here.
Nice, nice, I love that.
Mhm.
So going back to your videos, so Madam Dangerous.
Yeah,
So the scene opens with your lead singer, right?
yeah.
And that's Jesus. No, no, sorry, Steven.
Even. Yeah.
Steven's walking down the street in Los Angeles with who's the other guy?
It's a DK from Exciter.
His name is okay, because they're
Yeah, his name's DK. Well, Daniel
uh,
DK is his full name.
gotcha. So Exciter. There's been a number of bands over the years that have had that name, but this is a relatively new band called
No,
Exciter
no, this is Exciter from the 80s.
from the 80s.
Yeah, Violence and Force,
Oh, okay, the
Long
original
Live the Loud. Yeah,
Exciter.
the original Exciter.
Okay, I didn't know because he didn't look that old. I mean, maybe looked a little bit older than Steven, but he doesn't look like,
Well, he's like
elder
like
statesman, shall we
yeah,
say.
he's been in the band for a few years if I'm not mistaken, but like I mean, he's like the new guy, but he's not the new guy.
Okay. All right, gotcha. Okay,
Yeah.
so the two of them are walking down the street, and
Hmm.
Steven's talking about this one joint that's supposed to be, he's they got to go to this one place. Okay. And I love when they're at the door and they introduce themselves to the doorman, DK and Thundercock.
Yep.
And Thundercock is Steven.
Yeah. So the funny story about that nickname was on that tour we did with Screamer. We were in the same van with Screamer, and um, all everybody like knows like the Saber guys. We all fuck around a lot, and like we joke around some of the cringiest shit ever.
Hmm.
And we played. It was I think it was like the second or third night we were playing, and Dehan, the guitar player for Screamer, comes up to us and he's like, man, Steven wears some really tight pants. You can just see everything. There's nothing left to the imagination. It's like he has a thundercock, and we all just like looked at each other and like we lost it. And it's like, dude, that's your new nickname, man. It's gold.
That's great. That's fantastic. And that's pure 80s right there. That's how it
Yeah,
was, you know. Yeah. So that's great that I mean your music sounds like it's straight out of the 80s, and then you wear the clothes straight out of the
yeah, man.
80s.
We gotta. We love playing the music. We love dressing the part. It's all part of. It's like the whole package. Like I
Yeah.
feel like a lot of bands don't do that anymore. Some do, and they do it
Right.
well. But like, there's a lot of bands in LA that just jeans and a t-shirt, which is fine. Like
Right.
if that's what you want to do. But we want to put on a show and we want to look
Yeah.
good and dress the part and do the whole thing. So
I
that's
totally
that's what we
agree.
do.
I'm totally for that. And it was I don't know if it's that video or another video where he's got a jacket and it's like covered in studs. It's like
Oh yeah, that's
the
the
leather,
Lost in
it's like a
Flames
leather
one.
biker jacket, but it just
Yeah,
in spikes or studs or whatever. I was like, wow, that is a sick jacket.
yeah. It kind of reminds me of I think it was the Painkiller video with
Oh,
Rob
okay.
Halford. He
Rob
has like
Halford
this.
kind of has one.
Yeah, something like I don't know if it was the music video or that era where he's playing live where he has something like that.
Hmm.
And when I saw it, I was like, damn, that's like over the top, but it's kind of cool.
Right. Yeah, no, it works. I mean, with the whatever he was wearing in the video, he's got red
Hmm.
pants on or whatever. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, I was like, that's good. That's good right there.
Hmm.
So they go into this place and they back to the video and they encounter Madam Dangerous, right?
Yeah.
What's the deal with her? She's where does she work usually?
Well, the whole basis of the song was I won't name names of what who this happened to, but they went to a bar,
Yeah.
we're having drinks, and then just ended up talking to a girl, and then they hit it off, and then things got really heated really fast, and it's next thing you know, the girl just kind of like starts manhandling them, and then it's just like, what's going on? And then she just leaves them high and dry. She just disappears into the night, never to
Just,
be heard from ever again.
oh, she
And
got rough with him.
yeah. So then
Okay.
I heard this story, right? So I was just like, this is gonna make a great story or a great song. I gotta write some of these lyrics down right now. And then that's where like I started writing the lyrics, and then that's what the first line came to me. She's like, I've been looking for you, heard you like the pain. Hope you see it through because I like to tame. And I was like, oh my God, I'm on a roll here, guys.
Wow. Yeah, because in the video, if I'm not mistaken, she tries to cut him in the throat.
Yeah, no, that's what we did. We ended up like slicing DK's throat, and he's like bleeding to death.
Yeah.
And like at the end
Yeah.
of the video, he dies, which is like so cool. But then it cuts to the scene where they walk out, and it was just like he was under her spell. He was like in a
Oh,
trance
okay.
or something.
Oh, all right. Okay.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
it was really fun to film for sure. Everybody had a great time, and the scenes where you see us playing, we filmed a video while we were actually playing live at Knucklehead, which was
Oh,
pretty
all right.
cool.
So that's a bar. It's a club
It's a
in
bar in LA. Yeah, it's a lot of people go to it. It's a great
nice.
time. That we were just there. We played with Unto Others and Entranced. It was a sold out show, and it was a crazy night.
Nice, nice. So
Yeah.
yeah, and that's not is it a relatively new one? Because it's not the ones from way back, the
No,
whiskey.
yeah. I mean, compared to the other ones, it's like relatively new. It's been there
Nice.
for a few years, but yeah, it's nowhere near as old as
Yeah.
like the whiskey or anything like that.
Well, I like it. I like that there's new ones that are cropping up too. I mean, that there's kind of I'm sure that some of the same ones that have been there, but then there's new ones that are popping up there. So that's good.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this, Joel. When as you were growing up and you discovered heavy metal, um, when did it kind of dawn on you that that there was, and not too far from where you grew up, that in Los Angeles, that was considered at one time in the '80s, kind of the mecca of heavy metal in the United States, at least, and that there was this whole subculture that was wrapped around that, with the bands all kind of. I mean, there was a lot of competition, and they were all trying to get record deals, and they were from all over the country. A lot of these guys,
Mhm.
and they came to L.A. And I always like to say that they came with a dream but not a plan. Uh,
Yeah.
and a lot of them allegedly survived off of various groupies, women who would bring them food and buy them things and what have you. When did you realize that whole thing kind of existed at one point in time?
I must have been like a teenager. I think I must have been like 16 or 17 when I really like dove into like the history of all that stuff,
Mhm.
because I had already been listening to those bands, but a lot of the times I didn't know a lot of those bands came out of like one specific area, which was the Sunset Strip.
Right,
Like Motley Crue, Guns N' Roses, or like or like bands just came from the Midwest or the East Coast to LA to like
right.
like that's where it's happening. Let's go so we can make it.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
I was like a teenager when I discovered all that, and I was like, oh man, I didn't know that. Like, and the first time I ever went to the Sunset Strip, I was like around 17 years old,
Hmm.
18 years old, and I was just walking around, and that was the first time I saw. I think I was walking next to where the Key Club used to be, which was I think it was called something else, which I can't remember. But outside there's a brick wall, and it has a bunch of like bands on there. It has like Motorhead, Megadeth, Judas
Hmm.
Priest, Cinderella, like all those bands.
Nice.
And it's like right next to the Rainbow as well. But at that time I wasn't old enough to go into the Rainbow. So I was just like,
Yeah.
man, this is like so cool. And then like I went home and like I started digging into everything. I went online, like found videos and documentaries about all this stuff. And I was
Yeah.
like at that time I was like, oh man, this was like 30 years ago. Like this is so cool.
Yeah.
You know, like I wish I could have been there.
Oh, I know, I know. It's crazy. I grew up in Rhode Island, and so in Providence, Rhode Island, there was one club, and later there was another one, but the one that everybody went to first was the living room. That's what it's
Mhm.
called, the living room. So I saw Rough Cut there. I think you've heard of the band Rough Cut.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I saw them there for it was the second record, Rough Cut Wants You. It was that tour. And that was fantastic. But that's where a lot of the bands would play. And then kind of fast forward into the kind of the early to mid 90s, there was a place also in the city. It used to be Lupo's Heartbreak Hotel, and then it changed over to the Strand. And
Okay.
so that's where I saw Rainbow there. So that was
Nice.
Ricky Blackmore, but he was with Doogie White was the lead singer at that point. I was hoping it
Okay.
was going to be Joe Lynn Turner, but
Hmm.
that had been years before. I saw that. So I saw Rainbow there. Saw Joe Satriani there.
Nice.
Yeah. Who else? I saw BB King there.
Oh my God.
BB King was great. Trying to think of who else. Jason Bonham. He was doing like an all Led Zeppelin set. That
That's
was
so
that,
cool.
that was pretty cool. But then we had the Providence Civic Center, which was the big, 15,000 seat arena, and
Yeah.
that's where I saw the first bands I ever saw in 1985. That was Accept and Iron Maiden.
Oh, that must have been so cool.
Yeah, yeah. Even in the nosebleeds, that was way back up in the rafters, but still, yeah. To see the Power Slave tour for Iron Maiden was, yeah, quite the introduction to it.
Oh, that's so awesome.
Yeah, yeah. But I still enjoy going to shows today. I have some friends that we're all about the same age, so we all grew up in the same time.
Yeah.
And whenever we can, we go see bands around here. In kind of the central Pennsylvania, South Central Pennsylvania area.
Yeah. I mean, I ever since I was a kid, I always wanted to go to a show, but like when I was like 11 or 12, like just for some reason I would get like anxiety or fear. I was like, there's gonna be like thousands of people and
Hmm.
the music's gonna be so loud. It's like, and at that time I was like, I don't really have friends to go with. And then um no, my older brother wasn't really into it, or I was like, I don't have anybody to go with. And then my parents would not let me go to a rock concert at like 12, 13 years old.
Yeah,
You know? So I think
that
the
might have been
first
a wise decision.
the first concert I ever went to was when I think I must have been like 16,
Hmm.
15 or 16. I went to go see Anthrax. It was the Metal Alliance tour. It was Anthrax, Municipal Waste, High on Fire, and the opening band was Holy Grail
Hmm.
with James Paul Luna singing. And I was a huge fan of James Paul Luna because I loved the EP he did with White Wizard. So I was excited that I got to go see them. And I
Hmm.
took a picture with him. And this picture is like very old, right? It's like over 10 years old. And now like I'm friends with him. And one day I was like, hey dude, check this out. So I showed him the picture and he was like, no way. And I was like, yeah, dude, I met you a long, long time ago. And I was like,
That's
I
great.
never would have thought like now I can just call you a friend. It's just so weird because I've like idolized you and your voice and like the music you've been on is just like amazing.
Wow. Well, that's great. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Oh yeah, there's another band. I saw Metallica right it was Master of Puppets.
Oh
Uh,
my God.
and it wasn't so I think for part of Master of Puppets who did they open for Ozzy Osbourne or
Yeah, it was on that Ultimate Sin
okay,
tour.
so it wasn't this was in Providence at like a 1,500 seat auditorium. It's called the Veterans Memorial Auditorium. So they were
Mm.
the headliner and Metal Church opened up for them.
Oh, nice. That must have been after that first leg of the tour with Ozzy then or something like
Yeah,
that.
and I think so. I think it was right after Cliff Burton's death.
Yeah.
It was because Jason Newsted. I would have remembered seeing Cliff Burton, you know.
Hmm.
But yeah, it was Jason Newsted who was in the band at that point. But that was a great show too.
Damn, that would have been so awesome to see.
You know, because they
That
were
was
like,
like peak Metallica. Yeah.
right, that was like they were like right at the cusp of,
Yeah.
greatness, at that point, because I guess they, yeah, maybe they did the Aussie thing, and then they decided that, well, we're going to keep doing our own thing. We'll do like you know, a tour, like a club tour or whatever,
Oh yeah, those guys toured
smaller.
nonstop.
Yeah. So,
They've got hundreds of thousands of miles on any other band out there.
oh my God. Yeah. Yeah. Um, yeah. So when I started getting into stuff, they had Kill 'Em All, and then I think Ride the Lightning had just come out. That was kind of when I started getting into things.
Oh, that was my favorite Metallica album for a long time.
Ride the Lightning.
Yeah.
And I really liked Kill 'Em All. I don't know if it's for some reason I like the raw nature of it, and I always seem to gravitate to the bands when they're just starting out, like early Motley Crue, Too Fast
Oh
for Love,
yeah.
or
Yeah,
even
that
even some of the stuff that never even made it onto Too Fast for Love, like that era. I don't know, I just love it when they're young and they're hungry and they're raw,
yep.
and they're just trying to scratch and claw their way up.
Yeah, there's just like an energy to that. Like how you said, like they're hungry, so it's like they just
Right.
throw it all out there and it's like this is who we are. Take it or leave it. We don't care.
Right. Yep. Go for broke. What do we got to
Yeah,
lose? You know.
exactly.
But you had mentioned at the start of this that you're in another band. You're in Haunt,
Yeah,
and so you kind of toggle. You go back and forth between Haunt and Saber.
yeah. So right now, actually this upcoming weekend, I'm playing with Haunt. We're playing in LA and San Francisco. We're opening up for 3 Inches of Blood and
Okay.
Toxic Holocaust. So those are some pretty big shows. We're playing at the Fonda Theater in Hollywood and then the Regency over in San Francisco.
Yeah, I looked those venues up. Yeah, they're like 1,400, 1,500 seaters. Yeah.
Yeah, it's some pretty big venues.
Yeah, that's nice. That's nice. Good.
Yeah, looking forward to playing those for sure. And then after that, we have a haunt tour in March with we're taking Hittin on the road. They're from Spain. They're amazing, man. They're like the Spanish Dokken or something. So
Huh.
good. They're really good.
And how do you spell the name?
Hittin. It's a Hitten.
Hidden. Okay. I'll have to look them up.
Yeah, they're amazing. Got dual guitars, vocals like soaring, insane. It's just so
Nice.
good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good. Good. And they made it
Yeah.
over here. That's cool because
Yeah. It's their
usually when
first
I
time in the States.
nice because when I'll learn of bands, and I'll be like bummed out, like, oh man, they're from Austria or something like that. They're never gonna come, like this band called
Yeah.
Road Wolf. I don't know if you've ever
Oh,
heard
I
of
love that band.
Road
That
Wolf.
first
They're from
album is
Austria.
so
Yeah,
yeah,
are they ever gonna make it over here? I don't know.
right?
Or Riot City.
Riot
Now they're a
City.
little closer. They're from Toronto.
Yeah.
Riot City's amazing. You
Oh
know,
yeah. They
hopefully they'll
played
come down.
they played a festival in Texas called Hell's Heroes.
Oh,
I
you were
think they
telling me
played
about
it.
that.
Yeah. I think they played it I think it was in 2023 if I'm not mistaken. I might have that wrong, but they came and they played that one
Okay. Oh, okay.
festival.
Wow.
Yeah,
I'm gonna get to that festival, man.
it's amazing, dude. It's happening this year in March. You got to check it out. Crimson Glory is going to be on there. Saxon, um, Abbott from Immortal, and then a bunch of like the bigger underground bands like
Right.
Haunt, Sabir, and then Solicitor, Savage Master. Like what that fest does, it gets a lot of the new up and coming bands and puts them at the bottom of the bill with like
Yes.
old school big '80s bands on top.
See, that's exactly we were talking about this before, but that's exactly what should be happening.
Yeah,
There's another festival out near me. It's in Maryland, and they're now resorting to, they'll get the mainstays, like a Stephen Piercy or Brett Michaels or whatever,
yeah,
like that. And now they're resorting to cover bands or tribute bands, like an AC/DC tribute band
yeah,
or a Motley Crue tribute band or whatever. They're resorting to that to fill up the rest of the bill. I'm like, no, you have to bring up the young guys.
yeah,
To get the young guns and let them start off the bills, and so you can bring them up. Otherwise, what are you going to do in X number of years when all of your mainstays have retired, and or whatever. What are you going
They're
to do
not,
then? You have
yeah,
to bring up the young talent.
they're not giving the young guys a chance
Yeah.
to build and hone their craft
You got
because
to,
you got to play live. It's where it is. If you play live, you get comfortable, you get your songs tight, you know what's right, what's wrong, or what engages better with the crowd. And now you can morph your sound, you can morph your songs. It's just a matter of going out there and playing. And it's these festivals like Hell's Heroes that give that opportunity to those bands. But festivals like how you're saying the one in Maryland, it's just they're not giving those bands that chance, and it almost in a sense kind of demoralizes the young bands. It's like, well, I'm never going to be able to play that, so why do I got to try?
right, right,
But
right.
I'm one of those people where it's like I'm gonna stick it to them, man. I'm gonna keep going. They're gonna know who we are because we're gonna bring it to you whether you like it or not.
There you go. I like that. That's
Yeah,
the attitude. That's the rock and roll attitude right there.
yeah.
Nice, nice. Yeah, so you were talking about Haunt and then because you're the second lead where you trade off leads with Trevor.
Yeah,
Trevor Church is the lead guitarist and the singer, kind of it's his baby. Haunt
yeah, that's this
Haunt
whole
is
thing.
his thing. It's his brainchild. Um, but yeah, so is it difficult for you to kind of balance the two?
As long as everything is set on the calendar and I double check everything, it's usually works out. But
Mhm.
as I go, like if I'm trying to do more things with Saber, I just have to let them know like this, I'm not free these days, or vice versa. When Hunt gives me or Trevor gives me like a set of dates where he's gonna need me, and it's like, all right, guys, I can't do anything this time. It's just a matter of scheduling. It's just figuring that out. That's like it's very important to like get those ahead of time. But if
Gotcha.
other than that, it's relatively easy. It's just commuting to Trevor. Sometimes it can be a little rough because he does live like 4 hours north of where I live.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, so whenever we have rehearsal, it's just a matter of like coordinating that and spending a weekend there, making sure we're good, having enough time to rehearse or like work on songs or just like hone live songs that we're doing just to make sure we sound as best as possible. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's just a matter of scheduling.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Good. Good. So yeah, so for Saber, well, you mentioned the Haunt tour, and then is there a tour with Saber that's in the works?
Currently working on getting one together. Like I'm trying to get one earliest summer, if not fall, for sure.
Mhm,
Yeah,
mhm,
because winter time, everybody's like on vacation, going out, doing their thing, or like buying gifts for their family. So it's not really like the best time to tour. So
mm.
summer, fall is like kind of like where I'm planning on getting that together.
Okay.
So
Great.
we'll see very soon.
Nice. Nice. And would you say that you're for yourself professionally, would you like to get to a point someday where you can live off playing music?
Oh, absolutely. That's like the dream, the goal.
Yeah, because
You know,
because I've talked to other bands and and up and coming bands, and the reality is, you need some type of day job to support yourself
yeah.
while you pursue your dreams.
Well, it's not like how it was 40 years ago, I mean, 40 years ago, you could buy a house for like, I don't know, $80,000, $120,000. Inflation's been so bad, the same house probably costs you six, $700,000.
Hmm,
And livable wages from a job have not matched the cost of living.
right.
And so like back in the 80s, you can shell out a record, and if it's sold like 300,000 copies, 500,000 copies, you could live off that if you manage
Right.
your money well. Now people don't buy records, people stream everything, and you'd be lucky if you sell 500 records or even 1,000 records. It's just like
Yeah.
it's just very hard.
Yeah.
And if you just look at the numbers, you're like, I cannot live just off this. There's just no way, especially if you have like four or five guys in a band.
Right. It's a lot of
They
ways to
all
split the money.
yeah, they got their families, they got their mouths to feed. So it's just like we need to have a job. Or if somehow you can manage to like just have enough gigs or like play in enough bands or whatever, if you can keep your cost of living low, then and you generate enough income from gigs and you can somehow make it work. Because I know Sam from Haunt, he plays in a
Uh,
ton of cover bands, and he makes it work. He's one of the coolest dudes I've ever met. He has that go-getter mentality. He's like, I'm gonna make it work, and it's very
yeah.
inspiring to watch. It's just like, if this guy can do it, it's like, man, I gotta pull my weight and like put in the work and like get it done as well, you know?
Right. Yeah. He was telling me he's been doing it that way for the past 3 years. He's
Yeah, yeah.
you.
He's
Yeah.
very talented, man. Like I sometimes I'll just ask him like how do you remember like the hundreds of songs that you just know how to play? And he's like, if I have to learn one more set, I'm gonna have to buy an external memory drive for my brain because I can't take it anymore.
He's all full.
Oh yeah, yeah, no, but he knows hundreds of songs, man. It's crazy.
Mhm.
And he's actually like in a Thin Lizzy cover band, and I went to go see them not so
Oh.
long ago. And Thin Lizzy is one of my favorite bands, so just like watching them play, I was just mesmerized. Like these guys are so good.
Mhm.
It's like they just got it down so good.
Nice. Nice.
So yeah, Sam, idolize him, love him to death. Great guy.
Nice. And yeah, I think you were telling me before, Joel, that you've had to, like, say there was a tour coming up where you needed maybe like a month off. You've had to quit jobs in order
Yeah,
to do that. And then, just I guess when you got back from the tour, try to find something else. Uh,
exactly. That's the reality for some musicians, and it's rough for sure. Because sometimes you don't know if it's gonna work out. It might or it might not. You know,
mhm,
it's just a matter of like being as prepared as you possibly can, essentially, you know.
mhm.
But that's just where we're at in these times.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we at least for myself, is like I don't do the whole music and all that for money. I mean, if you're in it for money, you're definitely going to be very disappointed. I'll tell you that much right now.
Right. But
You know,
you'd like to someday be able to support yourself with it.
definitely
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. Nice. Nice. And what about the other guys in Saber? Are they kind of that same mind as well?
Yeah, no, yeah, we're on the same page. It's just we all have our day jobs, and then it's like we're all in it. We've all struggled just to get to this point, but we keep going because we love what we do. And
Mm.
whenever we play live, like the responses we get from the crowd, the fans, they come and talk to us after, and like what our music means to them, it's just like that's enough for us. That just keeps us going, for sure.
Yeah, I thought and I've listened to to a lot of your stuff, but Lost in Flames, I thought like that's you guys firing on all cylinders. That to me was like, at least right now, I feel certain you guys are going to get even better. But like that's I'm like, okay, this is everything is right here. They hit it, they knocked it out of the park with Lost in Flames. You
Well,
know,
thank you for
yeah, sure,
that.
man. Yeah, no, absolutely. And yeah, just everything fit together. The vocals and the guitars and like I was saying, the way that you had the double lead and the rhythm guitar drops out. It's
Yeah,
it's the intro or the beginning of the solo
yeah.
where you got the two guitars going and the rhythm guitar drops out. I thought that was a nice touch, and I think you had said that there was somebody gave you the idea for that.
Yeah, that was Trevor's idea when we were
Oh,
recording it. He was like, we should take this off just to emphasize both guitars harmonizing, and then
yeah,
just have the bass doing this thing in the background." And then when he did it, and I was just like, man, he's right.
yeah,
It's like
yeah.
it just hits you
It just
harder. I was like, oh,
yeah,
it's so
it
cool.
has quite the impact, and I like that your bass player is great, and that you can hear him. I think
Yeah,
I think sometimes, and I tell me if I'm wrong, but sometimes I think bass players need to like assert themselves and be like, you know what? I'm just gonna
crank
turn
it up a
this
bit.
up. I'm gonna turn this up and leave it there because people need to hear me.
Yeah,
It's like sometimes you can't, or well, my ear is not a trained ear, but sometimes you can't hear the bass as easily.
yeah.
But
Well,
like,
a lot of that is because whatever they're using to record the tone, and a lot of the times, for whatever reason, the bass just will just follow the same thing the guitar is doing.
Right.
and which is sometimes that's fine, but um for a good example is like something off of like Guns N' Roses' first album, Appetite for Destruction, when you can hear Duff's bass, it's not really following the guitar. He has
Right.
literally his own bass lines, and
Yeah.
that stands out more. It just adds more melody to the songs. And I was like, that is just so cool. Sometimes I remember just his bass line than what the song is like the rest of you guys are doing in the song. And I'm
Right.
like, that's what I want in my songs as well. It's like it's just like a bass line that you just hear and it just sticks in your head besides what's going on with the guitars or what's going on with the vocals. It's like, man, that it's like that bass player kicks ass. You know,
Yeah.
that's like
Yeah.
a reaction I've always
You
wanted.
can hear him, and he's there, and he's good. So it deserves to be heard. You
Yeah,
know.
I'll let him know. Thank you so much.
And he plays a Rickenbacker. Rickenbacker is
Yes,
like the Les Paul of basses or something,
right.
right? I think.
Oh yeah, no, it looks bitchin' on stage for sure. It's got like its own tone, and some people love it, some people hate it. But you can't deny the fact it looks so cool up there.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's kind of a throwback.
Yeah.
It's kind of a classic. It has that classic look to it.
Oh yeah, guys like Lemmy or like Cliff using those basses. It's just like
Well, that's right.
you see that, and that's like one of the things you like think about. So it's like you get that image in your head. It's like, oh, they're gonna sound heavy, like they have like a Motorhead Metallica thing, just because that's what you see.
Right, right.
Hmm.
Nice. Well, Joel, was there anything else that you wanted to add? Where can people find you guys online?
Anywhere on social media, man. We're on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. We have a pre-order out for the album right now on our Bandcamp. You can go there and place an order for the vinyl. It comes with the shirt, poster, and most of our updates come on Instagram. We're always posting on there, letting you know when the next show is going to happen. And we just had a new single come out a few days ago, Steelbreaker.
Oh,
And
really?
yeah,
That's news to me. I got to check it out.
yeah.
I
It's
had no
it's been
idea.
we've been playing it live a lot the past few months, and it's a fan favorite already. And it just dropped like a few days ago, and so people love it already.
So that's going to be on Lost in Flames as well.
Yeah, it
That's
was
going to
just
be on the new
it,
one.
it was the last single that came out for the
Oh,
album
gotcha.
before the album drops.
Okay, gotcha.
Mhm.
So you got it all planned out there. Okay, we're gonna
Yes,
like this
sir.
one and this one and this one. Yeah, no, I like it. I like it. You're thinking. That's good.
Yeah.
All part of the master plan.
Exactly.
Nice, nice. Well, Joel, I hope to see you guys when you come out east. And I'll certainly do everything I can to help promote it you know, wherever you might end up. If you want like a list of venues out this way, I can send that to you.
No,
Uh,
definitely. I'll be in contact with you when that time comes.
okay, man. All right. Sounds
All
great.
right. Awesome. Yeah. Hope to see you soon.
All right, Joel. Yeah, and just keep doing what you're doing, man.
Will
I
do.
know you will. I know you will. But yeah, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you for having me, Ted.
All right, I'll talk to you later.
Have a good night.